Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description.
Raiders Dolphins. This game on Saturday. And I don't. It's about pride now for the Raiders. I'm not even. Raiders are 3-point underdogs. They're at home. And they really don't have a lot to play for. It's pretty crazy that we've arrived at this point.
I mean, as of recording this, we don't know who the quarterback is. Honestly, I would imagine even as the week goes, there won't be a definitive quarterback named. You know, Derek probably push. As of Tuesday, I'll be a little surprised if he plays, basing it on not much besides just the injury. Just he's going to push. He got yanked out of the game. He couldn't keep going, and he's going to come back. Now, granted, the game was on Thursday, so he had a little buffer time, but I expect Marcus Mariota to go. But it's not what we just saw out of Marcus Mariota and the guy that started a lot of games. Like, clearly he's probably a pretty good backup quarterback. And you could argue him right now relative to Tua, at worst, it's a coin flip. If anything, Mariota's played infinitely more snaps in the league and just his understanding of getting ready for games, especially he's had a long period of time. I also think it's somewhat of an indictment on the Raiders in the sense they were 6-3. I think we all viewed them earlier on the season like they're just better than the Dolphins, right? When the dust settles, whether the Raiders made the playoffs or not, it wasn't because the Dolphins were going to be better. It was going to be because the Colts, the Ravens, and it turned out the Browns just were going to have more wins, even though the Raiders beat them. And now all of a sudden, they're obviously just an underdog. But what if I think just watching the two teams, the Dolphins are just better. They have a clear identity. They have a really good defense. Are the Dolphins just going to come in and just beat Gruden? And then all of a sudden, this team that, probably at this time last year, we're like, they just have all these picks and where are they really going? They'll probably be a 6-7 win team. And all of a sudden, they're better than the Raiders. Like Brian Flores, there's not a general manager in the league that would take Gruden over Brian Flores. So it's like, and this is what we talked about earlier this week. All of a sudden, the Raiders, even if you don't go macro and compare them to every coach in the league, that you could probably nitpick some guys that you'd rather have. If you do the teams that really you're chasing, like the top half of the AFC, Gruden's like, you can't beat these guys. You can't beat Frank Reich. Obviously, the Chiefs are in a different stratosphere than you, even though you beat them. Like, where are you going? Like, how are you going to pick the Raiders this offseason, even if they draft some people and sign some guys like, oh, the Raiders are in the playoffs next year? Like, I ain't doing that. I think it's going to be pretty nuts if they end up. I guess you probably could win week 17, but who knows how much you even have. I mean, just you're going to go 8-8, something like that. Like, that's pretty damning. That's way more damning than last year just because, like, okay, you went through it last year. This is your third year.
Here's the other thing.
What is your idea?
John, to your point on like next year, the NFC has been kind of a normal year. The AFC, if the Dolphins win Saturday, it's going to be all double-digit win teams in the playoffs. It's going to be all like 10, 11, 12-win teams, 13-win teams.
Well, Guy, I think when you look at the AFC, I'm pretty confident that all three AFC wildcards are going to have 11 wins.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Think about that.
Indy has 10.
10.
Cleveland
we think
has
Baltimore's
10.
winning out.
Baltimore has 9 right now, but if they win out, they'll have the 11. Miami has 9 right now. Who do they finish with?
You know who the Browns play this week, right?
The Jets. Right?
So that's 11.
So, in other words, and here's the other thing. Is Belichick going to miss the playoffs again next year?
I mean, he'll have to get a quarterback or something. But
what about the Chargers?
I'm just not.
The Chargers. How about the Chargers?
No one's counting Belichick out for long.
How about Justin Herbert's team? They're going to be better.
Chargers beat you with Anthony Lynn on a short week.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the conference should be better next year. Now, could Pittsburgh slide back? Maybe, depending on what happens with them.
Yeah, but I mean, they'll get injury guys back. Like, they're just good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's only going to get harder, and you're not getting better. I don't see how, if you're Gruden, and I know like technically it's a 1% chance, but even then, if Carr is anything less than like 90%, after the way Mariota played, wouldn't he just might give you a better chance to win? Just because
he's mobile.
Because he's mobile, and B, if if you're Gruden, don't you want to kind of see what you got? You spent $8 million on this guy. Don't you want to see what you got with Marcus Mariota here for a couple weeks? If
Well,
if
how about
it doesn't
this
make
guy?
a difference,
If it doesn't make a difference, and what if he plays well? And even if you just keep Carr, what if you trade him? What if you get an asset back for Mariota?
yeah.
Who wouldn't want a cheap starting quarterback, right? Say what you want. If Mariota plays these last 3 games and does what he just did, we're watching football right now. Like, he's a starter in the league next year, especially at his price point. You don't think a team would give up like a third just to get him? It's not out of the realm of possibility. He was a number 2 overall pick in the draft. People love him. He played well. Like, what if he plays 3 good games?
I mean, you're right. That's what you're thinking. I would be
think it's
shocked
crazy.
if he ends up getting traded for a third, but you're right. I mean, if you're Gruden, why can't you think of it that way? Go, hey, look, the end of his Titans career was beat up. Look at all these throws. The throws he made the other night look better than the guy we saw with the Titans.
Yeah. I'm not just based on the one game, but if he puts 3 games, he's healthy and people are singing his praises. He's a high character guy. He's smart. He started a bunch of
But
games.
Gruden might also think if he plays well, I might want to roll him back into camp next year and see what.
Well,
see
I
what
know.
he looks like
That's what I'm
against Derek.
saying. You got options. Like,
Yeah.
you have an asset.
But
'Cause
you
I
got to
think
give
before
yourself the
Mariota
options.
played, you did not have an asset.
No, but you have to give yourself the options by playing him.
Yeah.
Right now.
I
have
expect to see Mariota this fall. Or I mean,
1%
this
chance. I do too.
there is not a 1% chance, just in the fact that the Ravens have to lose out.
Well,
The Ravens
I'm
have
just
to
saying,
lose. They
like,
play
I
the
do have
Bengals.
to note that technically, I mean, the Jets just won. I didn't realize when it happened that it was the biggest upset in the NFL since 1995 this last week.
I mean, the Bengals kicked the Steelers' ass last night, so it did get a little weird this week.
I'm not sure that the Jags are quite done yet. Now, the Jags play the Bears this week.
The one thing I would say about the Ravens, like, they have kicked it into gear. Like, they beat the shit out of it. Like, they found themselves after that Browns win. They beat the Jags. They're kind of rolling now.
That's true.
And the Browns play the Jets.
And
so
then
the
they
Browns are just in.
Yeah, and the Ravens play the Bengals week 17. The Bengals have shot
And
their wad, I think we can say.
But here's the other thing. Part of the Raiders' chances, like, they got to win this week, and they're playing the Dolphins, who I think how are the Raiders, who have just been shitty really for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, just going to be like, oh, now we're just turning it on, playing the Dolphins? Like, what?
What if
That's where I have a hard time.
What if I
If they were
told
playing
you?
well, I don't. They're an underdog for a reason. I honestly think the Lions kind of should be like 5.
What if I told you when the season started that the Raiders would be underdogs at home to the Miami Dolphins?
I would have been like, something went dramatically wrong because I
Something did
didn't
go
think the
dramatically
Dolphins were going to be this good. But the Dolphins don't have, like, the Raiders have better players. You know, it's like they don't have a Josh Jacobs, they don't have a Waller. They would die for Ruggs to put with Tua. Like, they're starting a left tackle that Austin Jackson, when he got drafted out of USC, a lot of people were like, whoa. You know, I mean, they're doing things. Their corners are good, but they don't have some Khalil Mack on their defensive line. They're just well coached, tough. I think I view them like they overachieve. Where the Raiders, you argue, are the opposite, right? They underachieve, which is not a good attribute to have as a coach, right? If your team underachieves.
Gesicki might be back this week, I guess. He was limited in practice today, Tuesday, as we record this. But no, that's not a good. That is absolutely what they've been, underachievers. Man. Saturday should be a good day of football watching.